This solar charge passive infrared security light was probably one of the first solar products I fitted here at home, but after a number of years it doesn't seem to be coming on anymore when I walk down here, so I think either the cells have had it or that possibly that panel's given up, or we've just got corrosion in some connectors. So let's take it down and see what we can find. Now with the two halves of the unit on the bench, we can see, well, there's definitely some water ingress there, I think. But this is the spotlight, I guess. How many is there? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 LEDs. They were definitely very cool white LEDs. And there will be some sort of cell in here. I'm guessing a nickel metal hard drive. And this is the little amorphous panel with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So is that creating about 6 volts, I guess. 12 panels, about half a volt produced on each of these little cells. That looks okay, apart from a couple of nesting spiders in the back of it. That looks fine. There's no obvious water ingress, and the little, I think it's 5.5. No, it might be slightly different. But this connector, again, that looks nice and clean. It doesn't look like the failure has been in there, so I'm guessing it's in here. Like I said, imagine that the nickel metal hard drives have had enough. Oh! But now, which makes me think that that switch, it's a bit odd that they've got a switch on it, really. But that switch is clearly a bit funny, isn't it? Let's take these screws out. So with the last screw out, so it seems the cells are alright. And then the plate comes off. Is that a rubber seal? Yes, that's a rubber seal. Okay, and inside here, that looks suspiciously to me like a set of 3 AAAs, so I'm guessing they're nickel metal hard drive. Well, I guess there could be cadmium, but it is a little bit wet in here. Not terribly, there's no leaks coming out of it, but yeah, it's definitely a little bit damp. Perhaps this has seen, oh yeah, there's definitely water in there, isn't there? Yeah, so the passive infrared sensor here is a little bit rusty. The LDO, the light dependent resistor, is also a little bit on the damp side. So we've got, what have we got on here? Is that a transistor, an inductor, L1, couple of diodes there, and a few capacitors. Oh, and on the bottom we have all surface mount here, and the controller chip is probably one of the standard PIR controller chips, isn't it? It's a HS0001. Is that? It's difficult to read, possibly. But yeah, I think this perhaps needs retiring. I think it is getting a bit damaged by water, sadly. But yeah, the panel must be okay, and the lamp seems to be working okay still, doesn't it? But that switch there, which has popped out actually, hasn't it? That's oozing water. So that's not long for its operation, is it? Right, so let's just check a couple of the other components on here. This solar panel should make a voltage under my bench lights, and it does 5.6 volts. That seems reasonable. Did we count 12 cells in there? So that's about 6 volts, isn't it? The nickel metal hard drive, I'm guessing AAAs. We can see there's an indentation there, which probably is the positive end, but then there's one there, and yeah, there again. So I'm guessing these cells are in series because that cell is the other way round. So I'd imagine we'd get something, well, we'd hope to get something more than 3.6 volts if these were sat at 1.2, wouldn't we? 4.37 volts across that little battery pack there. So they're pretty well charged, aren't they? So that's working. The solar panel's working. We know the light is working. So it does just look like this switch, which is, well, oozing water. So that's, yeah, that's had it, hasn't it? Well, if in doubt, let's cut it out. So let's cut that switch out, which is just full of water. Strip these and put them together and just permanently make this live, because like I said, I never ever turned it off, so the switch is pointless. It was letting in water. Let's just tin those. Little bit of heat shrink, I think, just to come back here, you tidy this up after I've soldered it. And we'll just flow those two wires together, hopefully. That's better. There we go. Heat shrink over the top, and that should be alright. Now I'll shrink that heat shrink with my solder heat gun, and I might also just give this a general blast and hopefully dry it out as well, because it's yeah, damp. Well, I've given it a good wipe inside, including inside the PIR reflector here. Filthy fingers now. So that's the battery connected. The PCB fits down this slot. That seems to be okay. The wires just kind of shove in, I think, and the battery one way or the other, don't suppose it matters terribly, sits in that little gap there. So theory has it this should all be working. So we can put the rubber seal back in there, and the plastic case, 4 screws, and hopefully this is working again. So there we have it all back together, minus the button currently on, oddly, but let's go take it outside and see what happens. There we have it, charging in the sun, and later on tonight I'll test to see if it works. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give me a thumbs up, subscribe down below, comment if you can, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Well, it's dark out here now. Have I managed to? Yes, I have. There you go, that seems to be working now. And lighting up the alleyway and the gate. Perfect. Job well done.